Good morning and welcome to Technique of the Week. This will be live or available on Sunday, the 26th of April, and this is a messy one. I was avoiding this, but I'm not going to avoid it any longer. So we are going to do the shaving cream technique. Now for this, I like having some sort of deep, some people will use like a like the styrofoam bottom that you get like your chicken on, your hamburger, all that. I personally like using this is an old wood mount stamp case, so it's deep enough. I feel like I have enough room with it. Okay, it's a little bit of a messy technique, but you'll see all the fun. I'm going to put one of my microfiber soft cloths underneath here just to help a little bit in case there's any inkiness or shaving cream that goes rogue. All right, so I'm just using this. I got it at the dollar store. Probably pay too much because I think you can get a full great big one at like your big box stores for 99 cents too, but you know, time was of the essence. All right, so you're going to put a good amount in there. All right. And already, I probably should have some paper towels in here. I didn't think that far ahead. What I like about using this is that I can take it straight to the sink after all is said and done. Let me just go ahead and I'll throw this all in the wash later. All right, so what I'll do is I'll kind of smooth it down just a little bit, get it down to a manageable amount, and I have way too much in here. I could have used about half of this. All right, another reason why I like that tall edge, I can scrape things off on the sides. All right, now you're going to drop in your reinkers. I am using pumpkin pie, now, in this case, to me, less is more. I'm going to do some Calypso Coral. And then I'm going to do Melon Mambo. I'm just going to get those kind of more near the middle. All right. So the first thing I like to do is I like to do the good old, what's this called? In baking, it's marbling, right? When you do this, so you can get your streusel, your swirl, your marbling. So I just like doing that just a little bit, just to kind of muddy up the colors. Now, when I first started, we would use glossy paper for the best results, but I think our white works just as good. I'm gonna see, do I have more white cut anywhere? I thought I did. You know me with rearranging my shelf unit. Yeah, I don't see that I have it over there, so we'll use what I have and then we'll cut some more as I need to. All right, so the first thing you do, you lay it down, you push it down. You come over and you scrape it off. Now the first ones are very bold because you haven't really kind of messed them up yet. And then you're going to put it off to the side to dry. Make sure I have that mostly off. All right. So I'm going to put it over here on my desk chair. I'll try to remember that it was there before I sit down. So now let's do another one. Again, we're going to scrape that off. So your first ones are going to have very distinct patterns to them. Put that one over there to dry. All right, and here's another one. Now we're getting down to where most of the ink is going to be sucked up by our card. So you notice I'm putting all this over on the edge here, because what I'm going to do now, and like I said, the first few are going to be very distinct. You're going to have very clear patterns. After this, it's going to get more of a mottled look, because now what I'm going to do, let me put that over here, and let's see, where's my little washcloth? I know I have other, oh, here's some. I knew I had some more cuts somewhere. All right, let me, these are actually though vanilla, but they'll still look good. And here's a few more white. All right, here we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this scraping and I'm going to put it back over here. All right, and I'm not going to mess it up. I'm not going to really do that streusling effect. I'm just going to go straight down into it. Now, I let these air dry. You could use a heat gun. I don't recommend it though. I feel like if you have any shaving cream left on your card, you have the potential of burning your design or burning the shaving cream and turning it into a brown mess. So now let's bring this back over again. Trying to get that off without rearranging it too much. And let's go a little bit more. I'm going to press a little bit more in to get a little more of that ink around there. Now when you do this, know that you will make a lot of backgrounds. I mean, you could go on for a while. After a while though, after putting this back into there, you are going to start just getting a brown mess. So at some point you just have to say, all right, I could go more, but I'm not, and stop. All right, let me put that on my keyboard. Hopefully that doesn't turn off the video. Oh, I don't want to do vellum. All right, I'm going to go just into those peaks right now because that's a fun little like swoosh. And I think I'm going to go back over here because I didn't get a lot of color there. All right. As you can see, now they're starting to get, and every single one's going to be a little bit different. Now, if I bring this all back in, see, this is where we're starting to get into, let me bring some of that Coastal Cabana in though. This is where it's going to start just getting into like a more of a brown mess. So let's go ahead and we'll do just a couple more. Let me get this. I'm getting a lot on my fingers. All right, see how it's starting to, I mean, it still looks cool, but you can see how they're starting to get kind of turning into one specific color, which is almost a brown. All right, I do like that one peak right there though. So let me go ahead and do, I have 3 cards left. Let's go ahead and use it up. I'm going to try to go more on that end with that. And now I'm going to try to go more this end over here. All right, and see how the back is getting too? So you want to be careful wherever you set them to dry. Like that one just fell onto my carpet. Just not good. Okay, let's go here again. This one I kind of moved a little bit, so it may not look as pretty. There's that, and the last one. And after this one, I am going to take this to the sink. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to go to the sink and clean this off, and then we will see if any of them look like they're ready to use. But I don't think we're going to be able to get a card made today, just because, like I said, it does take a while for these to dry. And I don't want to use my heat gun. So I have a little bit of a blank spot there. I'm going to go into that little swirl right there. All right. Let me go one more. And you can move it around on your cardstock if you want, but I feel like then you don't get some of the natural properties or looks from just using the shaving cream technique at its true form. All right, so let me go ahead. I am going to set these down on my glass mat. I'm going to go to the sink and wash this out, and then I'll be right back. But I am going to pause the video, so it's not like you're going to be like, listening to, I don't know, birds chirp. So let me grab these over here. I'm grabbing them off of my chair. And then I think there's one more. All right, so let me go to the sink. Let me clear off this mess, and I'll be right back. All right, so I'm going to pause for now. Hopefully I hit the pause and not the cutoff. So hang on. Okay, and I am back. So as you can see, that's all cleaned off. I'm going to set it over here. I'll wipe it down with a towel here in a second. I also have my cloth back. I also brought a paper towel to kind of remove some of that. If there's any like shaving cream left on it, this will help take it off. Shaving cream has a tendency though, to dry fairly quickly. And you can see that the cardstock is curled because we have introduced, a wet property of the paper. So the paper is going to curl. So just taking all of that extra shaving cream off. That's why it's always good if you try to scrape off as much as you can with that palette knife before this step. Helps a lot. All right, and here's our first view. You know, some people say, oh, the first few don't look the great. Remember, these are kind of like your first pancakes, your practice pancakes, like a great creator out there says. So these will still make great backgrounds, you know, or if you have like, if these were different colors, it could be great for your leaf cutouts. You know, it's even would be great for words. Sometimes with the words though, you want it more concentrated because, especially if you're die cutting it, it can see where the die cuts hit white, you may not be able to recognize it as much. I use them mostly for backgrounds. So, like I said, they are a little folded. I am just going to put, because now that they're dry and I've wiped it on with the paper towel, what I will do is I will stack them all up, and I will take my blocks and I'll just put them on there for a couple hours. So there you have it, guys. There's the shaving cream technique. Now, yes, we didn't make any cards, and I'm sorry about that, but like I said, even though I've dried this off, I want to give it just a little bit because paper soaks in moisture. So even though it appears dry, if we go to like cut or stamp on it, you could get some, you know, bleeding out. So I will put this on top, which will just flatten them, and then I'll let them air dry. I have, oh, I don't even know where it's at. I have drying racks for my print GoCo. Oh, here they are. So after they flattened out a little bit, I will then put them in here. They want to fall forward. I'll put them in here just to do final drying. But see, they're still so curled that they're not going to stand in here good. So I will leave them under the block here for about a couple hours, and then I'll put them in these little drying racks to finish drying out, and then I can stamp or die cut with them starting tomorrow. So I'm sorry you don't have any cards to look at, but I think showing you the technique really helps. Like I said, I used a lot of shaving cream. You wouldn't have to use as much, but you do want to have enough in your container, whatever container you choose, to make sure that it will cover your cardstock or whatever shape you've cut out for your cards. All right, guys, if you don't mind, give me that thumbs up. Tell your friends about my channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm still striving to get to 500. Most of all, have a great Sunday. It's sun shining here in the Chicagoland area. I think rain's supposed to come, but I'm not sure. But anyway, enjoy the time while you can. Have a great Sunday. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.